This video is all about how to start a blog in 2023. My name is Sophia. I started my blog 5 years ago and it is now a 7-figure business. We have a team of 6 of us, which is insane. I'm in my office and it has kind of turned into way more than a blog, but it all originated from me starting a blog when I was going into my sophomore year of college. I was absolutely broke and it has begun this entire business. You know how to start a blog, maybe don't know grammar. And in the last 5 years, I have learned so much, like so much. I've done a lot of things wrong, but I've also done a lot of things right that I look back at and I am like, okay, this is one of the reasons why I was able to grow my business so faster. Doing this on the blog allowed me to start making money earlier, etc. So in this video, I'm going to go over, first I'm gonna go over my top tips for you for starting a blog that becomes a successful business / makes money. And then I'm going to give you like the actual step-by-steps on how to actually like start a blog. I'm so strategic in the way that I think that you should be starting your blog and just like the fastest way to do it and again become successful. So that will be at the end of the video, but let's get into it because I think this is gonna be like a jam-packed video. It's one of my, I film this video every single year and it's one of my absolutely favorite videos to film. And I have a lot to say and talk about, so let's get into it. Tip number 1, and this is something that we are asked all the time, I am asked all the time, is how many blog posts should you be posting a week? I have a very strong opinion on this, and the opinion is more to be consistent than anything. However, I would recommend posting twice a week. I think that's like a really good amount where you can get Google and Pinterest and the social medias knowing that you're serious about this. What I would highly not recommend is that you would go and let's say 1 week post 5 blog posts, but then the next week you're busy, so you post none, and then the next week you post 3, and then the next week none, and then you post 3, you know, like be consistent with it and be realistic too. Like starting a blog is way harder than people think, which is why so many people start blogs and then fail. It's like no joke, it's like work. I've considered it work from the very beginning because it truly is. And so just be realistic with your time. You know, like when I was starting my blog, like I said, I was a full-time college student and I could only get out 2 posts a week, but getting out those 2 posts a week and being like religious about getting out those 2 posts a week, I was able to like garner the trust of the platforms, which sounds stupid, but it's like really true. Like you have to get Google and Pinterest to trust you and know that you're putting out good content and are like almost serious about it. Like the things that those networks can now figure out is insane. And so by being consistent, you can rank faster, which is like the whole point on why you should be consistent, is because the more consistent you are, the faster that you can rank and the faster that your content will be shown. So that's my number 1 tip. You can post as many times as you want to post, but I would be very realistic about it. And I personally think that a great number to strive for is 2 blog posts a week. Tip number 2, keywords and SEO. So keywords and SEO, I had never even heard of those 2 terms before starting my blog. And now I always say, I'm like, those 2 things literally run my life. I think about SEO in every single thing that I do. Every single part of my business, every time I put something on the internet, on social media, when I write captions, how I say my sentences, how we write our blog posts, we are constantly thinking about SEO, and the entire team is that way. Especially the part of the team that works on the website, because it is so important and so crucial. And basically in really, I mean, it's like pretty complicated, but in really simple terms, SEO stands for search engine optimization. And it essentially lets Google know, or like the internet know, what you are writing about. So instead of, you know, like, okay, let's say I was writing a post on white t-shirts. Okay, so like that would be the keyword, white t-shirts, and then I want to let Google know, or whatever, Pinterest know, or Instagram, whatever, that I am writing about white t-shirts over and over again so that when someone searches white t-shirts, my blog post would be the first one to come up. So it is very strategic, which is another one of my tips that I'll get to. But definitely research SEO and keywords. A little plug. I have a course all about my strategy for SEO. It's the Perfecting Blogging course, and it's basically like my every single thing that we do within our business for SEO, and it's just so important. But there are a ton of resources online that you can look at. You just have to know what it is. It will help you grow your blog so much faster. Tip number 3, I have all my tips written down, if you can't tell. Tip number 3 is I highly recommend focusing on Pinterest to promote your blog. This is one of the best things that I did in my business to get me moving a lot faster than maybe some other people that started on Instagram or Facebook even, and it's still that way 5 years later. So Pinterest is the only social media platform that people go to websites. On Instagram, our click-through rate to go to our website is so low. I just think about me personally, okay, how many times do I actually watch someone's story, click on a link, and take me to a website? Maybe once a day. But when I'm on Pinterest and I'm looking at a dinner recipe, for example, I am constantly going to someone's website to see what the recipe is. Or when I'm looking at tips, right now I'm getting married this year, and so I'm looking at wedding registries, and so on Pinterest I'm searching wedding registry, and I'm going to people's blog posts to see what they're putting on their wedding registry. And so Pinterest is the fastest way that you will get views to your website, and the faster you can get views, the faster you can get into an ad network, and an ad network is probably going to be the first way that you start making more substantial money. So that is, my lens is having a glitchy moment, but definitely get on Pinterest. Another plug, I have a Perfecting Pinterest course, but okay. Tip number 3, test out short form videos. So this is not something that I did when starting my blog. I actually didn't even start doing any type of videos until I was about 3 years in. But now with TikTok and even YouTube Shorts and just in Reels on Instagram, that is what these social media, and Pinterest too, honestly, that is what these social media platforms are pushing out, is the short form videos, if you can do them. Now, I know firsthand they take a lot longer than you think that they will, and they're also it's uncomfortable to put yourself out there, and especially on TikTok, people are brutal on TikTok. I slightly get literally, people are just mean on TikTok. So you have to have a thick skin to do it, but these social media platforms are promoting them so much that the chances, if you're consistent with it, of one of your short form videos going viral is really, really high. I started my TikTok, now it's 18 months ago, and in the last 18 months, I had no idea how powerful TikTok would be for my blog. Literally no idea. I feel like I'm not focused. And now it brings us thousands and thousands of page views a month. Now you have to be strategic with it. I am hoping that this is the year that TikTok allows links to be put in videos or even on the stories, just like Instagram does. Because to get someone, someone has to watch your video, then go to your profile, and then click on the URL. There's a lot of steps involved in it, but it's a really great way to get your content out there. Now, like I said, I didn't do any of that for 3 years, and I still think that you can be extremely successful without doing any short form videos. It's like a tongue twister. But if you have the capability and you have the thick skin to do it, then I would recommend it, because I really think that that can help grow your website even faster. The reason why we will always have our website, no matter how well our social medias are doing, because that is the hub of everything. And on TikTok and Instagram and Pinterest, the things that I mean, you gotta love them because they've grown my business, but at the same time, I hate them. It's like very much a love-hate relationship because they have full control. Like on TikTok, and I've gone through this multiple times, if they don't wanna show your content, they won't show your content. And they have the full, like the videos could be really, really good, and they just decide like, nope, not gonna put this out there, and they have control, which on your website, you have a lot more control and just like strategy more on how to get your stuff out there. Tip number 5, pick a short-term goal to help you stay focused. So I am an insanely goal-oriented person. I am always setting goals. Like for everything I do, I basically have a goal on what I'm trying to do, and it keeps me very geared towards what I'm trying to do and motivated. So my first year of blogging, my goal was to get into the ad agency because, like I said, getting into an ad agency is probably gonna be one of the first ways that you start making substantial money on your website. My goal was to get into Mediavine, and I did hit that goal. It took a lot of work. I took it seriously. I treated it like a business from the very beginning. But by the end of that first year, I have like income reports so you can see how much I was making that first year. I was bringing in like thousands of dollars after that. So that's pretty insane to think that after like 1 year, which in like the 1 year, it felt like it's way harder to do than to actually like say out loud, because you're gonna be grinding like hardcore and working all the time on making your website, and for the first like 10 months you're not going to see anything happen with it, and then all of a sudden it'll click really, really fast. But that is what I would recommend for your maybe like 1 year goal. But I would set like, okay, this month I want to do this, and 6 months my goal is to do this, and like again 1 year my goal is to do this. And I think if I'm remembering correctly, I actually have a video on the goals that I had in place, so go check that out if your mind works that same way. Tip number 6 is to get your eggs in different baskets. And I think that's more something that you should be thinking about long term. During your first year, you want to be very strategic with what you're focusing on. So again, I would majorly put an emphasis on learning about SEO and getting your stuff on Pinterest. That is like really all that I would be focusing on the first year. Focusing on those 2 things will allow you to get into that ad agency and just to get your bearings. I mean, like, you are constantly going to be updating your website and figuring stuff out. We are still learning stuff every single day here on what's working, what's not working, etc. But one thing that we have majorly learned is that it's so important to get your eggs in different baskets because of the control that the affiliates and other social media platforms have on you. You know, like my TikTok example of them just not wanting to show your stuff is a really, really great one. And another really great one is Amazon. Like, Amazon is a huge affiliate for us, and for some bloggers, it was like their main source of income. And 2 years ago, in 2020, Amazon slashed their affiliate income commission rates from 8% to 3%. That is major and literally killed some blogging businesses. And so we were really lucky in the fact that like that was not only our source of income, and we had multiple different streams. And so I'm very thankful for that looking back now. And I would highly recommend as you get to that like 1 to 2 year mark, you start thinking about like, okay, how am I going to have my eggs in different baskets to protect myself if something was to happen with one of my income streams. And I think that's just like a good tip in life. Number 7 is to research and test. We test everything here. We are constantly testing. Like one of my most said phrases probably is like, let's test it. And we are never afraid to test anything, but we majorly research something, and you are going to be experiencing so many algorithm changes. Every single platform has algorithm changes every year, and it's just something that you have to roll with. And the biggest thing that I see bloggers do wrong is that there will be an algorithm change. Like, let's say on Pinterest, I have gone through like 10 huge algorithm changes on Pinterest in the last 5 years, and people panic, like full on go into panic. I've been there, I panicked before, and they will just change their entire strategy, and then you can't go back and see like what is working or what's not working. So when we test something, we do it very minimally. Like, we will change a color, or we will change a word, or we will change the time of day that we post something, or we will change how we write the first sentence. Like, we are so small with it, and then we wait a few weeks to see if that worked or not, so that we can exactly pinpoint whether something or not is working. But definitely don't be afraid to test things. Like, you really can't go wrong with testing. You can always go back, but I think that you should just always be testing and never be afraid for something to like fail. Tip number 8 is to get on Google Analytics. This is something that I didn't do from the very beginning, and I wish that I would have. So get Google Analytics set up ASAP when starting your blog, because then you can track your stats from the very beginning. Google Analytics is definitely the most comprehensive stats tracker. I don't know how to say it in a technical way. And it's insane all that Google Analytics can show you. We barely skim the surface on it, but it is really, really good for you to be able to look back on like what's working, what sources of traffic are taking people to your website, your age demographic, where people are coming from, how many people are looking at your website. So definitely get on Google Analytics. Tip number 9 is to get your blog published ASAP. The fact of the matter is that in the beginning, it will probably only be your mom or your significant other or maybe one of your best friends looking at your website. Do not try to make it perfect. That is a huge mistake that I see. You want to get your website published as soon as you can, because the longer that it's published, the longer Google will have to figure out what your website is and push out your content. So that is something that I highly recommend. Don't worry about making it perfect. If you would have seen my website when I first started it, you would die. Like, it was so bad, but I just got it up there. Like, I would even get it up there when you have only one blog post, and then you just can continually add to it. No one is going to be looking at it probably for like months, but you want to have it up there so that you can start getting it like searched, basically. Number 10, prioritize your ROI. I've said this like 3 times now in this video, but I was a college student. I was a full-time college student. I was taking like 20 credits or something like that. And I was also working. And so I had to be so strategic with what I was spending my time on. So ROI is your return on investment. I did not do anything on my website for probably the first like 2.5 years, 3 years, that wouldn't be a return on my investment. And that point in my life, my investment was my time. And so just everything that I did, I would think, is this going to make me money? Your about page, do not spend a lot of time writing your about page, because that is not going to make you money. And honestly, no one really cares about your about page. This is another thing that I should have added in here, is that no one cares about you. They only care about themselves. And so you have to make everything geared towards helping them. Everything that we do in our business is to be as helpful as possible to the reader or to the purchaser or to the follower or viewer or whatever it is. And I think that just like thinking about those two constantly will really help you grow your blog faster. Now to the actual like tangible steps that I think that you should take to start your blog. I'm so specific with how I think you should do this, because you will thank me later on. I promise you, you will thank me later on. These are things that I've learned, and you will hate yourself if you have to go back and switch these in the future, because it's just way easier to do in the beginning. It will be a pain if you have to do it later on when you actually have content on your website and photos, and it's just like a mess. So these are the steps that you need to do. Okay, so step number 1 is that you are going to want to start a WordPress.org blog. But how you start that WordPress.org blog is by getting a host that is attached to WordPress. So when I started my blog, and this is how I would completely recommend doing it today as well, and how we basically have started all of our other businesses' websites too, is to get your host on bluehost.com. So I have actually like this will probably be easier to follow in Word form, because you can just go down a list. At least that's how my brain works. So in the description of this video, I have a like bysophialee.com/how-to-start-a-blog, and that will take you to a blog post that goes over these steps and like the links where you should be going, etc. So Bluehost is the host that I would recommend, and I always use this as an example. It's basically like the Walmart version of hosting, aka the cheapest host that you will be able to find. Again, I use them. It's like $2.95 a month, something like insanely cheap. And then as you start actually making money, you can kind of go higher and higher with your hosting. So after I hit 200,000 page views a month, so I was with Bluehost until I hit 200,000 page views a month. Then I switched over to Big Scouts as my host, but that cost me thousands of dollars a year, where like the Bluehost one cost me like $36 a year, or like the $2.95 a month, something like that. And then Bluehost is attached to WordPress.org. So basically by doing that, you own that website. And even when you're going to like apply for brand partnerships or your ad agency, they'll ask you what your host is. You want to be able to say that you are using a WordPress blog. Bluehost allows you to do that. They're all like integrated into each other, and that way your URL, and so like even in Bluehost, like that's where you're gonna put like your website name. So they'll ask you like URL, and you can search like to make sure that the URL that you want is available or the website name you want is available. And so you want the self-hosted WordPress blog, where a hosted WordPress blog would be something like bysophialee.wix.com. And the self-hosted one is just bysophialee.com, if that makes sense. Again, like I think the blog post will be way more helpful and just like when you actually sign it up, because you can just go down the list of what to do. Okay, then you're gonna wanna pick a domain and blog name. That's in the process as well. And so this is going to be maybe frustrating because now so many people have like website names picked out. I would highly recommend as much as you can to get a website that ends in .com. Like now you can do .co or I don't know, there's like so many endings that you can do now. Try to do a .com. Also, don't get funky with your name. Have it be an easy spelling. If you try to get creative with your name, people are just not gonna know how to search it. They're gonna constantly search the wrong thing. So take some time with this. I know that like this is also something you can go back to and figure out a name later on. You don't need to do it right away. But that's where you're gonna wanna pick a name, and then pick a theme. So a theme is the way that your website looks. So there's multiple places you can get themes. I got my theme from 17th Avenue, but you can also go to Etsy and search like WordPress themes. That is going to be way cheaper than you hiring a website designer. I finally hired a website designer last year, and it cost me thousands of dollars, but at that point we were making like 7 figures on the website. And even like we're still, for our other parts of like our businesses, like the daily website, that's a theme. And there are so many website designers doing themes now that you can find such a good theme, and you can customize it with your colors. You can even add in your own fonts, and that will get you the most professional looking website, the cheapest way and the fastest way. So those are the 4 steps, and then start writing blog posts. Start writing blog posts right away, but I would just highly taking that route instead of doing like a Squarespace blog or a Wix blog. I can almost bet my life. Okay, that's a really strong statement, but seriously, that's how much that I would place my bets on that one. That almost every single professional blogger making a ton of money is using a self-hosted WordPress blog. That's the reason that I did in the beginning, because I was doing research just like you, and that is what all of the bloggers that were making like $200,000 a month or something like that were starting their websites on. And so I was like, okay, well, if they're doing it, then I'm gonna do it too. So that's how I would do it. On my website, I have so many resources on blogging, and I have free guides, I have the courses, and the courses, no matter if you buy my courses or if you buy someone else's courses, I swear to you, taking courses was the reason why, one of the main reasons why I was able to grow my blog so fast, because instead of me trying to figure out something for 6 months or a year, I was able to take a course from someone that was very successful in whatever I was trying to learn and learn their strategy in like a week of taking their course. And then I could, you know, like have it work with my type of content, and it just saved me so much time. Like there's a lot of time figuring out, again, like I can't say it enough, like blogging is all strategy. It's not just you randomly being like, I wanna write about this. Like, nope, we are so specific with every single thing that we do on our website, and it's took us a lot of time to learn it. And it took the other bloggers of the courses that I was taking a lot of time to learn it too. So, I don't know, that's just my little tidbit on that. I would like babysit on Friday nights and Saturday nights and on the weekdays or whatever, and I would just immediately put that money towards taking courses, and it majorly paid off. So that was a really good investment. But that is my top tips and the steps that I would do to start a blog in 2023. Definitely let me know if you have questions below in the comments. We look at all of the questions, and that's actually how we come up with these video ideas. And so whatever you want to see, let us know. It's extremely helpful. But I just think that blogging is one of the best things that you can do for your career or for your business. It runs the world, and websites run the world. And I mean, I even think about, like, I am constantly searching on Google every single day. Like, I search what temperature should I bake a chicken breast at? You know, like that will take me to a blog. And even like the best dog foods. Like if you want to start a blog on dogs, like think about what that could take you, because then you can start a blog on dogs, right? How to start, or the best dog food. And then like, let's say in the future you start a huge dog food company. Like that all started and gave you the credibility from starting your blog. So I highly recommend it. I think it can do huge things for your career, for your businesses, and it's like a really exciting and fun path to take. So that is the end of this video. I will see you at next week's blogging video.